Hi, I'm Bill, and I'm here with my friend Lynn, and having completed the electronic assembly of our RoboPot in the previous video, we are now going to start on the mechanical assembly. First of all, let me say that we're assembling our RoboPot on one of these little workbenches.
Okay.
Makes it nice and sturdy.
Sure.
You could decorate this any way you like. And it's easy because all you need is this little tool. This is what's called a hex nut driver. There are other ways you could do this though. For example, you could build your RoboPot inside this little plastic tub. And if you did that, what you would do is you would drill holes in it so that there's a place for the tube to come out, and then there's a place for the dial and a place for the button. You could build something out of wood to hold this thing. There are a lot of options. But we're going to do this because it's easy. We're going to call this a workbench.
Okay.
It has two directions with these square holes going either horizontally or vertically. And we're going to hold it horizontally.
Okay.
Okay? And the first thing we're going to do is attach the dial. What this dial is going to do for us is allow us to set how long to water the plant each day. If you twist it higher, it waters longer, up to 10 seconds. If you twist it lower, it waters for less time, down to 1 second.
Okay. And so it has legs?
Yeah, and the legs are here. There are 4 of them.
Okay.
And then there are screws, like this.
All right. Great.
So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is attach the 4 legs to the dial.
Okay.
So I grab a screw, and since you're younger than me, your hands might be steadier. And I think this is magnetic, this nice little tool. So what I'll do is I'll push one of these things through the hole, grab one of these are called standoffs.
Okay.
And I'll go like this. There you go.
Okay.
So attach the other 4, just like that, or the other 3 actually. Remember when we were assembling the electronics and we installed a resistor? Well, this dial is a variable resistor. The computer can read it and see how far you've turned the dial.
Yeah.
All right, so the next step is to attach it to the board with the same procedure. And what I do is I don't tighten this all the way until I have all 4 in place.
Okay.
And then I tighten them all.
Right.
All right, there you go. All right, let's do the button next. First thing you're going to want to do with the button
I've got legs there.
is remove
Oh.
the lock nut by just unscrewing it and sliding it off the wires. Now that's going to go in one of these cute little holders here. What happens is the wire goes through first,
Okay.
whichever side you want facing up.
This way?
Yeah, and you're going to have the matte side facing up, which is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so the way these nuts work, they have little kind of sawtooth-like grabby things, and that's going to be going against the holder there. So the sawtooth grabby things go on first, like that. There you go. And then just tighten that into place. There you go. And again, that doesn't have to be, just hand tight is fine.
Okay.
There you go.
There.
And then it's the same process, but with longer standoffs.
All right.
All right. So we're just going to attach 4 of them to the to that plate, and then 4 of them to the board. This button does 2 things for us. First, if you just tap it, it turns the pump on as set by the dial, so you can adjust it to the time you want. If you hold the button down, the pump runs as long as you hold it, so you can water the plant manually for as long as you want. And then 4 of them to the board, and you're done with that. All right, now the power jack.
All right.
Similar to the button. Here it is. This is where we're going to plug in our power source. We're going to use this wall unit instead of a battery so that we don't have to change the battery all the time. All right, so the same deal. Step number 1 is to unscrew the nut.
The nut. All right, and there's your stand.
Yep.
Same idea.
Yeah, goes through, the wire goes through first. And yeah, and then you put that back on.
And this one doesn't have little grippies.
Right.
And we're going to do the same length.
Exact same thing. Yep.
And this also attaches to the board.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're getting there.
Okay.
Now we're going to attach the pump.
All right, pump.
Pump is here. Now for this, I use cable ties or zip ties or tie wraps, whatever you want to call them.
Zip ties, that's what I would call them.
This is the way that this is going to go in. Not this way, but this way.
So that those ridges are on the inside.
Yeah.
Yes. And is there, it doesn't look like there's any wrong or right way to put the pump here in terms of
you want the
pump.
You want the inputs and outputs to be on the edge of the board, not in the middle of the board,
Right,
so
that
that the
makes
hoses can. But other than that, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. There's no upside down or right side up.
The pump we're using is called a gear pump. When the current turns on, an electric motor spins gears whose teeth pull the water in and push the water out.
Let's try this way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, there you go.
Just had to get serious about it.
Yeah, perfect.
There.
Brilliant. We are coming up to the home stretch.
Okay.
Now the next step is to stick the board.
Aha, the board.
Okay, and it goes facing so that the transistor is near the pump. The breadboard has a paper backing. If you peel that off, it gets real sticky. So what you're going to do is peel that off and stick it in place. Now once you stick it in place, it will not move.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
No complaints. There you go.
Okay.
Now, all that's left to do is to plug in all these wires to the board.
Aha.
Now here's how we're going to do that. If we go back to the picture, it tells you exactly what to do. First of all of the connections are on the edge of the board. The button, it doesn't matter what direction you put it in because it's just a button. But the other three, it matters what the red wire is and what the black wire is.
Okay.
As you can see, there's a red wire and a black wire. Okay, so let's start, might as well start with the pump. Now what you're going to do is you'll notice that you don't have any pins sticking out here that would go into those holes.
All right.
So the way we're going to fix that is we're going to use one of these little things here. And what you're going to do is plug these two into those pins on one side. Okay. Then that can go into exactly where it says on the board, again keeping track of what's the red wire and what's the black wire.
And it goes in the correct position.
Goes in just where it says. You can see the red wire is right on top of the end of the gray one. There you go.
And it's got a little wiggle room to it?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay?
That's fine. That's good enough. And then later on, you know, a student may wish to neaten this up by, you know, sticking those wires down or something, but in the end it doesn't exactly matter. Yeah, that's kind of cool what you've done there. Tucking them under the tie wrap is nice. There you go. All
right.
Do the same thing with the power. Now that's already got the right thing on the end, so you don't have to attach anything. You just have to plug it in. The red wire on the computer side of the board and the black wire on the transistor side of the board.
Okay.
Now comes the dial. This is the cable for the dial. This cable has 3 wires, white, red, and black. If you look closely at this thing, you can see it says SV and G.
Okay.
It says SV and G there.
SV and
S is the white. S stands for signal.
Okay.
And that's the white wire. V stands for volts. That's the red wire. And G stands for ground. And that's the black wire.
Okay.
So stick that in there.
That way.
Now you've got that.
Yeah.
You
got
need
the
a.
same problem.
There you go. There's a little thing there.
Oops.
Now we're going to let's do the button. So we're going to attach one of those little things to it.
It's not red and black.
It does, yes, because this one, you can see they're both black.
Okay.
Doesn't matter which way they go.
Because it's the button.
All right.
All right, check that one.
I will. After you've plugged in the cables, it's important to check that they're in the right position and in the right direction. Every cable that has a red wire and a black wire, you will find the red wire on the computer side of the board and the black wire on the transistor side of the board. For example, this cable here, there's the red wire on the computer side and the black wire on the transistor side. Yep, that's exactly right. Okay. All that remains is to attach these cute little rubber feet to make the base nice and sturdy. So what you're going to do is each one of those 4 feet peels off, and you just pick spots near the corners wherever you want and stick them on. And I sometimes just put that right in the middle of those two. It's fun. It's a fine spot for it. There you go. Now that we've finished the electrical and the mechanical, let's do the plumbing.